Moving ahead, months after the new minimum wage was signed into law, Nigerian workers are still waiting for its implementation as well as the consequential adjustment of salaries.
The Trade Union Congress says organized labor will embark on a strike if negotiation on the approval of the salary chart for the implementation of the minimum wage fails again. Now, policy analyst Dayo Lumuwagu is here in the studio with me to discuss this. A lot of times the federal government has described the demands of labor as being unrealistic. How would you regard that kind of statement, coming from the federal government and looking at what the labor is actually asking for? Do you think is unrealistic?
I think that whatever the government is saying unrealistic is, I think it's a relative time. What is not realistic about you increasing salary for, after 10 years, but how much are we talking about? We're not talking about living wage, we're talking about minimum wage 30,000. I don't know what is, how unrealistic that is, especially when you consider that it looks like the workers are living in abject poverty in the midst of an ocean of affluence everywhere. You will see how people display money, how the government display money, and to say 30,000 is unrealistic.
But what the government is talking about, the consequential adjustment, which is where the bone of contention is. Do you think the labor union should have some sort of compromise since negotiations are still ongoing?
I honestly think, and in fairness to both parties, that Labour has been very magnanimous to an extent. How much are we talking about? From 18,000 to 30,000. And see, the negotiation has been going on and been dragging. The Labour is saying we want about 30% for level 7 to 14 officers, and maybe 25% for the higher officers. And the government is saying she's doing a 10% and 5.5 respectively. And I'm asking myself, even if you give me 10% increment, if I'm earning 100, you only pay me 110. And meaning I'm earning an extra of 10,000 in how many years? So I'm not sure what is really realistic about this. And to say that, see, if we don't have the money, yeah, we understand. We understand the concerns of government, we can't fund it, we don't have money. But you see, like I continue to say, it will be absorbed. It will be insane for the head of the family. You serve your rice and you put all kinds of protein. And when they come to the children in the house, you tell them there's no protein, that they should eat their rice like that.
Of which they are the ones that need the protein more.
Exactly.
Okay, so but looking at what is playing out, how do you think the government and the labor union now should address this? The Trade Union Congress is saying that if negotiations do not favor them, it's possible they might go on strike again. What do you think that would, how would that affect the nation, and what should be the response of the government to this?
You see, unfortunately, every time we go on strike, it costs this country billions of naira. And we all know that. You see, but there's a limit to which you can appeal to labor to say, don't go on strike. If they think that is the only tool they have to press their demand home. And so my point is, yeah, we can call for, reconciliation is going on, and we hope they're able to, they're able to compromise. The compromise here and there and reconcile at a point. But the government should not be waiting, should not be this reactionary. Now, you know the implication, and you know what this could mean to the nation. So if they're asking for this little increment, can we sit down? Can we look properly? Don't always come back to say labor must be the one to compromise. Labor must be the one to have the thing slashed down. Can we look at other places? If it's about income, now you say state can pay. Now we understand that too. But what I was saying is, some other expenses of government, can we look at it critically and see how do we accommodate this increment we're talking about? And if we need to adjust something in the way we run the country, if you need to do some adjustment, restructure the country such that the state they have some capacity to earn more money and be able to do this thing. Now, but to say the labor should be the one to go in penury every time, I don't support that. How much are we talking about? 30,000. And I ask myself, if I'm earning 30,000, see, it will take me 40 years before I will earn one salary of a senator in this country. What are we talking about? So that labor should be the one to compromise every time. Yes, I understand that. But if it's becoming too much, we should ask ourselves, what are we doing with the money? And every time you hear that Nigeria has borrowed this, has borrowed that, and you're asking yourself, where is the money going to? You look at the street, you don't see anything on ground. So who is taking this money?
All right.
The national case should go to everybody.
Policy analyst Dayo Lomuwagun, thank you so much for your thoughts.
Always my pleasure.